Hello everyone, welcome to the IAS Mentor Current Affairs class. In this class, let us see one important issue that was there in news recently related to environment and biodiversity. Recently, COP30 meeting, Conference of Parties to United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. It was held in a place called Belém. It is in Brazil. If I show you the images, this is the region. This is the location of this city. Identify. This is also important in the context that it is located on Amazon River. Identify this one, Amazon. Amazon forest area, Amazon River, nearby that. It is a gateway to Amazon forest. That is why it has occupied significant role, because this is one of the important places of the humanity itself. If you destroy Amazon forests, then there will be no natural reservoir to absorb the pollution. That is why protecting this region is very, very crucial. That is why if a meeting was held nearby, that means naturally people are going to show interest. What is the highlights of this? The representatives from different countries came together and they have taken certain decisions. The collection of these decisions is called Belém package. This is the package that is a collection of decisions related to these issues. Belém package is the final set of decisions adopted at COP30. UNFCCC is a framework convention that is established in 1992. There was a summit called Earth Summit related to environment. It is considered as the first milestone in developing something in concrete, that how to protect the environment. Where it was held? Earth Summit took place in 1992. Rio de Janeiro. Rio de Janeiro is also a place in Brazil only. Identify this one, Rio de Janeiro. It is also in Brazil only. In this Earth Summit, if I show you this, Earth Summit, these are the images, a Rio de Janeiro, a Rio Earth Summit 1992. Now, when it comes to this, they have taken certain decisions near in this. Identify this one. What is the outcome? Establishment of the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. This is one of the important, a key achievement of 1992 conference was the establishment of this one. Since that time period, continuously whole world tried to really do something for reducing the pollution. If you compare the pollution levels of industrial revolution, before industrial revolution and after industrial revolution in 1750s, there was a huge variation. That is why always references used to go back to 1750s industrial revolution, but recently the trend also changed, like 2005 levels, like that. Since then, conference of parties used to be held frequently in different parts of the globe. This is the 30th meeting, Conference of Parties, 30th time that was held here, that is related to that Earth Summit UNFCCC. Now, since then, so many decisions were taken how to reduce the pollution. When it comes to the pollution levels, developed countries developed, but they polluted a lot. Whereas underdeveloped countries, they are yet to see the development, but if you use the coal resources, you are going to pollute. For your development, you have to clear the forest, again pollution. If you have to develop, you have to improve the industrial infrastructure. Again, you need land resource and deforestation. Whereas developed countries already developed, they polluted also, they developed. Now if you want to develop the underdeveloped countries, so you have to have, definitely there is going to be impact on environment. Now the developed countries started saying that we are polluting, underdeveloped countries are polluting, developing countries are polluting. That's why there must be some kind of pricing mechanism. And who should take the responsibility? Developed countries should take responsibility first, because they are the one who developed, who destroyed the environment initially, and they are reaping the benefits today. Now developed countries started a narration that there is nothing like a climate change and we need not to worry. It is not that every developed country is doing like that, and also not every developed country doing. Within developed countries, some sections will be there who want to do business. Those businesses are linked with like coal, conventional energy resources like oil, coal, forestation related, deforestation related. Those businesses started putting a narration that this climate change is not something very concrete. Only developing countries wanted to stop the development of developed countries. That is why there is nothing like that. This kind of false narration also started by some of the think tanks of developed countries. But when it comes to the developing countries, it is very real. You have to develop also, at the same time you have to sacrifice the forest, rivers and pollution environment. Always since then there is always continuously a debate that who should pay. Developed countries wanted everyone should pay. Now we are all equal. Every country should come forward for limiting the climate change, global warming and pollution. Whereas developing countries already say that we are already not yet developed, we don't have already funds, how can we pay? That's why you polluted, you start giving that some kind of fund so that we will also develop in such a way it will pollute less. For example, developed countries, you give us technology which is less pollution and we will use it. Otherwise, to develop the similar kind of technology, we have to spend a lot, we will pollute more. This phrase, common but differential responsibility, that phrase emerged. Common, everyone going to contribute for limiting the pollution, but differential responsibilities. Developed countries will take more responsibility, developing countries take less responsibility. Over a period of time, so many funds were created. Some funds were created for adopting the change. If climate change is taking place, how to adopt? Climate change is a reality. If rainfall is failing, if rainfall is not occurring on time, then how to adapt to the situation? Suppose if there is a cyclone, if there is any kind of flood, already pollution occurred, then how to mitigate the problems? Likewise, different funds were created for very long time period. It is particularly going on since 1990s. Even before 1990s also efforts were made, but serious attempts were made by countries since 1992. So since then, so many funds, so many efforts, so many meetings, so many summits, so many gatherings took place to identify the challenge of climate change and how to solve it. In that attempt, in this year, in Belém, in Brazil, these kind of decisions were taken. Like, it represents a collection of agreements covering climate finance. Climate related finance, some fund must be there. This climate related issue means ozone related, it could be one. Pollution levels in the atmosphere, one. Climate change is taking place, temperatures are increasing, temperatures are falling. These are all climate related phenomena. And to tackle that, climate finance. Adaptation. Now, suppose deforestation has taken place. Now people have to adopt accordingly. Adopt. And accordingly, they have to use the water resources a very precious manner. If rainfall, erratic rainfall is taking place, up to now consider every season monsoons are coming regularly, but if monsoon seasons are shifting to new time periods, then you have to adapt. Then mitigation, if cyclone, floods, heat waves, if they are happening, then how to mitigate the challenge. Loss and damage, sometimes loss is permanent, damage has already taken place. For example, due to climate change, global warming, the temperatures are rising. The ice in Antarctic region, Arctic region melting. Glaciers are melting. As a result, if they are melting, if polar ice melting, glaciers are melting means ultimately it will lead to water level increase. If water level increase in Antarctic, Arctic region and ice is melting, then sea level will rise. If sea level rise, sometimes even entire island itself is going to submerge. Loss, damage, now what to do? If some people are already there in that island, now what is going to happen to them? How to rehabilitate them? What will happen to the kind of development, kind of lifestyle they were having till now? Loss and damage. What should be done? Climate trade linkages. Trading activities and climate are related to each other. Suppose when it comes to trading, some people trade in forest related activities, but if something is related to forest animals, forest products, then it is related to climate. That is why if you destroy the forest, then automatically the climate in that area is going to change. In Indonesia, there were tropical forests, but tropical forests were cleared and they were converted into palm oil crops. And now it is a trade and it is related to climate change. How to handle this? Global cooperation, Mutirao, collective effort. See the term like Belém package and Mutirao, these are the terms related to COP20 UNFCCC. When it comes to preliminary examination, you will identify these terms only like a Belém package, Mutirao, like that. It is named after Belém, the host city, similar to past COP outcomes like Paris Agreement. In 2015, COP21 was held, that is in Paris Agreement. Like how to develop solar energy, renewable energy sources, wind energy, solar energy by gradually coming out of fossil fuels. Paris Agreement is one of the important milestone in that journey. Like it was named after Paris host city, similarly Belém package is named after the Belém city. The core themes of the Belém package. The thematic idea behind the package is collective effort. We should not blame each other. Developer countries' narrative that climate change is a hoax, it is nothing real. Only developing countries, for the sake of funds, they are propagating this. This kind of narrative was built. Now, it is decided that they wanted everyone should work together because climate change is a reality. Now, no one can deny it. If people don't accept to this agreement, then how can countries will come together and support each other? That is why collective effort, meaning all countries must work together even though negotiations were deeply divided. Negotiations can be deeply divided, but how much fund developed countries should give, how much is the responsibility of developing countries, people can divide, countries can have multiple arguments, but there must be an effort that everyone should work how to reduce climate change. It's not a single treaty, it is a bundle of decisions that COP30 managed to agree upon. Key components of this package: adaptation finance, scale up, commitment to triple global adaptation finance by 2030. By 2030, whatever finances are currently is given to adaptation, it must be tripled. Focus on early warning system, resilient infrastructure and climate proof agriculture. Identify this one. Agriculture, suppose if rainfall, erratic rainfall take place, agriculture is going to become victim. If due to seasonal, if rainfalls are occurring which is not regularly happening in certain months, if that happens, then automatically the agriculture productivity is going to come down. Suppose agriculture requires sunshine in certain months, water levels in certain months. Suppose when agriculture crop is about to reap, if rainfall occurs, then huge damage will take place. Climate proof agriculture. We need that kind of mechanism that can be achieved only with adaptation finances, because some countries may develop certain kind of mechanism how to improve productivity of the agriculture despite there is seasonal change in rainfall or temperatures or flood related water moisture in the soil and in the climate. Despite that, how to get more productivity? If some countries develop certain kind of technologies, other countries also should get access to that. But to get that access, people require fund. That fund will be part of adaptation fund. Next, resilient infrastructure. Resilient infrastructure means whenever floods comes, then how to handle that. Before that, flood should not happen in cities. Then only it becomes resilient, climate change resilient infrastructure in cities. Next, early warning systems. If there are cyclones, then immediately people should be warned. Early warning system. If floods are going to come, immediately. If glaciers are melting, immediately warning. If sea levels are rising, immediately warning. If biodiversity related impact is going to happen, immediately warning. And for that investment is required, this adaptation finance will help. Loss and damage strengthened framework. Third review of Warsaw International Mechanism. Warsaw is a place like Paris, like Belém. In one of the conference of parties was held in Warsaw. There, types of damage, loss and damage addressed by Warsaw International Mechanism identify these are loss and damage like cyclones, floods, heat waves, storm surges, sea level rise, desertification, ocean acidification, global glacial retreat. Identify whatever we have discussed so far. These are all part of this sudden onset events, slow onset events, non-economic losses. These are all the losses and these are the damages. Because of these losses and damages, people are going to get affected, and how to adapt, how to mitigate these changes, these things. Third review. So this once again review took place in this place. Launch of a state of loss and damage report every cycle. That means one report will be frequently released. Better data systems, indicators and reporting tools. Stronger coordination with the Santiago network since 2019 onwards. Fund for responding to loss and damage. So simply it is to strengthen the already existing framework for loss and damage. Here once again Belém is going to strengthen that framework. Climate finance roadmap. Baku to Belém roadmap. Baku, previously Azerbaijan capital Baku, last year it was held. That is why from there to here, a broad non-binding roadmap to mobilize $1.3 trillion annually by 2035. Focus on multilateral development banks, concessional loans, private capital mobilization, so that all countries, developed, underdeveloped, poor countries also get access to these funds. They will implement the climate resilient technologies. Mitigation. Parties reaffirmed 1.5 degrees centigrade goal but did not commit to fossil fuel phase out. Everyone wants to limit the temperature increase to 1.5 degrees in comparison with the industrial revolution, but it will happen only if fossil fuels completely taken out. But fossil fuels means oil, crude oil, then natural gas. These are the areas where currently entire economic system is running. But if you have to remove fossil fuels, means you have to go for alternative energy sources like solar, like wind. But it requires a lot of investment. That is why, depending on coal, oil, these are the conventional resources. You have to still depend on that without having any kind of commitment how to remove this. But broadly, they agreed that we have to limit to 1 point. But it is very difficult unless there is a plan. It is very difficult to achieve this goal also. But despite that, parties felt that we need to limit. That is where the limitation, when it comes to strength, all parties decided let us work together. But limitation is what is the concrete mechanism. Some language on transitioning away from unabated fossil fuels, no new emission cutting targets. Climate trade linkages. For the first time, a COP outcome includes explicit recognition of a trade system that allows sustainable development while tackling climate change. For the first time, trade linked with climate change. Now, here onwards, If anything, if any trading activity is resulting in impacting the climate, impacting the environment, people are going to take into consideration and how to solve it. Global Climate Action Agenda, a report with 700 case studies, 570 climate solution examples, a granary of solutions, so that ready-made solutions will be available. They can be used anywhere across the country. Some countries may be good in certain case studies, like some may be good in how to stop the desertification. Some countries might have achieved how to limit flood. Some countries might have achieved how to reduce the sea level impact, like flooding, cyclones. If existing case studies record and report in a single place, it becomes easy for the other countries also learn these methods and immediately use them. Inclusion and indigenous rights. Since Belém lies in Amazon region, emphasizes indigenous participation. Their local population is there, how to participate, how to make locals also feel as part of climate change. Local community climate solutions, forest protection narratives. So whatever the local people, they are living for so many centuries. The tribals are, their life is linked with the nature. They are very good in protecting the nature, and to live along with the nature, it is their lifestyle. And mainstream people also should learn how to live with that. Whatever the narratives or whatever the knowledge, existing knowledge is there, people have to recognize them and learn from them. Overall, strength moves adaptation and loss and damage forward. Adaptation related steps take forward. Loss and damage related steps taking forward. Introduces climate trade issues formally. Strengthens global cooperation narrative. This one, highlight indigenous leadership. So when it comes to strengthen global cooperation narrative, means it is very important for everyone should come together to cooperate. Weakness, no fossil fuel phase out decision. There is no concrete decision by when we have to completely phase out fossil fuels. Finance pledges are not binding. These are oral and not binding. Loss and damage funding remains inadequate. Mitigation ambition do not match 1.5 degrees centigrade pathway. So whatever steps that are accepted or agreed, it is not going to limit the increase in temperature to 1.5 unless serious steps and immediate steps are taken. But when it comes to the steps, when it comes to fossil fuel phase out, there is no concrete mechanism. And when it comes to loss and damage funding, it is still inadequate. Then if this is not taken care, if this is not taken care, people continue to follow fossil fuels, and developing countries and underdeveloped countries will not have mechanism to limit the pollution. Then if this both things are not happening, then reducing or limiting the temperature level to 1.5 is very difficult. That is limitation. But despite that, trading, linking trade and climate is one thing. Accepting a united effort, cooperation of all leaders, all people is one important step. So remember this, Belém package is one thing. Another one is this, there is a term called Mutirao, global cooperation, collective effort, is the call that became popular during this time period. So this is about COP 30 that took place in Belém. It is in Brazil near Amazon forest. Remember some of the terms. Sometimes UPSC ask very simple question, just the terms related to this, like Belém package, Mitirao. These are the terms in the context of, they are in the news in the context of UNFCCC, climate change talks. All right. So revise this. So far we have covered some current issues also. Just to go through the previous current affair issues also, broadly you will get a complete picture. All right. Thank you. Thank you very much.